Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm your host of the most, Lesego M, Daddy Reporter, aka Future Short. Maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Please do not forget to follow, like, and subscribe to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. So we are doing a reaction video for Drizzy Drake's freestyle that he released, the Irish freestyle that he released under Conductor Williams' page. For those of you who don't know, Drake just dropped a freestyle. I think it was part of the bundle of tracks or freestyles or diss tracks that were supposed to be released alongside the Metagrams freestyles that Drizzy Drake dropped. And I think I remember even 50 Cent was saying that Drizzy Drake had a lot of music that he could have released throughout the period of dropping of music. You remember, not like us, meet the grams, the back and forth between both the artists. So obviously now, as I'm sitting, I see, I think it was a blog that actually Drake released something, or rather not Drake, but Conductor William released something under his page, and I saw it was a freestyle by Drake. And basically what I had, and the reason, like the primary reason why I'm making this particular episode is for me to address this, right? Because I'm also struggling with it within like my friendship or my circle friends, right? And it's mainly because of communication. So Drake has highlighted some of the things that are important. Obviously, you remember at some point there was that concert that happened in Los Angeles that was very successful, where Kendrick was hosting that and he invited all the gangs, the Bloods, the Crips. They were all under the same roof celebrating the Not Like Us, and nobody died, or like none of the people. And this is like from the 80s. This was the first time ever since then the Bloods and the Crip were found under one roof and they didn't kill one another. They were just enjoying music for the love of it. So that was the first time. And alongside people like Roddy Rich, LeBron James was in the event, who happens to also be Drizzy Drake's biggest friend. So I think as a friend, I'm going back to like the lyrics. I'll go back to the lyrics in a few minutes. As a friend, I would expect, this is me, this is me, and this is something I haven't communicated to the friend. Kuti. As a friend, this is my expectation. I would expect as a friend, when there's a beef such as this one that's currently happening between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, if you are my friend and I'm Drake, LeBron is my friend, I would expect him to be on my side. And by my side, anything that I'm doing, you are there in support of what I'm doing, the music. And I think at some point in time, I've even had LeBron listening to Not Like Us earphone before the match when they were doing warm ups. Would listen. I'm like, oh, okay, oh, it's fine. It's just music. There's nothing to it. And I've seen that, but I was like, yeah, I would feel some type of way still. I know it's a small thing, but I would feel some type of way still. But when I started to see LeBron James in that event, I was like, nah, that's for me. That's pushing it. That's like pushing it. And there's a quote that I like. I think I had James, not James, Romeo, the friend of Bucky in TikTok. For those of you who follow Bucky, there's a friend called Romeo. So Romeo quoted Neil Strauss's the line in the book called The Game. He quoted a line by Neil Strauss. The line goes as follow. It says, "Miscommunicated expectations lead to premeditated resentment," and in this scenario between Drake and LeBron James. That's what I see. I don't know the details of the relationships and how often they communicate and what they communicate or when they communicate. I don't know. I don't have the stats. It's not out there. But what I can tell you for sure, Guti, within the friendship, it can still be repaired. The friendship can still be repaired. But also, I think to also have a good relationship means that we need to communicate our expectations. Kuti, from this relationship, I, as a friend, expect you to do A, B, and C, Or I saw you singing to A, B, and C song. It didn't sit well with me. As a friend who's also beefing with that person, I don't want to get you involved. I don't want you to be involved. You like the music, but keep it private. So we don't, like, the audience or the people that are your fans don't see it, because when they see it, they communicate it. When I see it, it affects me. And as a friend who likes to see me thrive, win in this life, I'm sure that you would understand, because I'm beefing with this person. As much as the music is good, but can you please be on my side? Can you please be on my side? That's first. I would communicate. Okay, the second one would be, okay, the event. If you had the conversation once, would say, okay, you've communicated with me. This is LeBron. You've communicated with me about being in support of you. There's this event that I'm invited to in Los Angeles. Would you mind if I go there? As your friend, I am your friend, and I'm invited there. Can I go? And I think if it's communicated, it's better. Because I'll be able to say, no, please don't go. For whatever reason, I give you my reasons. But yeah, like, we still beef in the narrative might be there on the internet. Because now the narrative is Braun is Drake's friend, but he's out there celebrating with Kendrick. And how does that mean, or like, how does that symbolize a healthy, good relationship amongst friends? That's another question. And of course, Braun is allowed to have his own perspective, to say, like, this is my perspective in this. You're my friend, yes, but I'm not a part of the beef. I'm your friend. If I enjoy the music, I will listen to the music, right? So, and he's allowed to feel that way, to have his own opinion about that, to say, okay, this is me. Had you felt that way, you should have communicated with Gucci, and I could have given you my 2 cents about what I think about the situation, so it doesn't hurt you as much. So that's why you find now Gucci Drake released the track. Not even Drake. Conductor Williams released the track, but I'm sure Drake knows about this release. Or it's strategic. I don't know. So he went on to say, Gucci, with all the gimmicks that are happening in the world, everybody's loving the gimmicks that are happening in the world. Even my brothers too bought tickets. Oh, they were not invited. LeBron was not invited. He bought the ticket. And from what it seemed like, LeBron was enjoying himself at the Not Like Us concert. The song, for those of you who don't know, the song was played 8 times in the concert. Not even 8 times, I'm sorry, exaggerating. It was played 6 times in the concert. And LeBron was dancing to it. There was a couple of people that were also like Drake's friends in that event, but the biggest one being LeBron. They were dancing to the song, and obviously blogs have stuff to say. They have their opinions about the friendship, and obviously, as Drake, that would affect me. As a friend of Drake, that would affect me. Gucci, yeah, he's your friend, but why is he celebrating with your enemies? But also, does that question your Gucci? You know, Uncommunicated expectations lead to premeditated resentment. You didn't communicate your expectations from this person. You could say, I'm going through this. I know you're a lover of music, but for the time being, while things are still fragile between me and this person, can you keep it low key with everything that you love about this person? So you show support for me or of me. So I felt like the Drake line when you said, I feel like my brothers bought tickets, and it seemed like they enjoyed themselves at the event. He went on to say, Drake went on to say, I've analyzed behavioral patterns. At some point, I broke records. I broke world records. You didn't show love to me. I broke the Guinness World Record. You didn't show love to me. There was a point, Iloring, I did my Maybach. I bought my fifth Maybach, even though it was a different color. but you also didn't show love for me in that, you know. So he was saying that Gucci, even at some point, I think he was saying something about the watches. He was saying, Gucci, I bought you an Arabic something something, an Arabic edition. I think it's a Rolex or something. I'm not sure. A limited edition, and LeBron bought him an exchange of what of the watch. I think he said, Drake says he said to him, you traded watches. I gave you the Arabic dial, you gave me the number edition, you know. And he said at some point you even checked up on my son like a pediatrician. So that's how this was so big to Drake. This is like my friend. He's even capable of coming and checking up on my son. That's why he was like, Guti, you would even come and check up on my son like a pediatrician. You convinced the gang. Was rooted in love when it isn't. How was it rooted in love when it isn't showing me how different? When it isn't showing me different, because you say that this is love, but your actions say other things. You're not showing love. I did all these world record thingies. I broke the records. We even traded watches at some point, but you never at zero time show me love, that you love me. And sometimes I think it's maybe people are not good at communicating how they feel to some other people, but sometimes the actions that you do or things that you do may communicate something that you had never planned. I say this maybe thinking good, maybe LeBron has a different perspective about this entire situation, and it's not as big as maybe Drake sees it, but I would also feel the same way. And I felt like the reason behind this episode, it was also like I know how that feels like to have a friend, and it always seems as if everything you do, they always working against you. Like you're trying this, you're doing that, but they never seem to appreciate or give you props for whatever you win in life. But you are always putting the effort to make sure the relationship is where it's at. You're always at the game. You're always, support, run this, run that. You're always, but they're not reciprocating. So I also feel the same way. And I think for the first half of this of the freestyle, I feel like I like what Drake did. He was speaking directly to LeBron with that one. It's not a diss per se, but it's just a response to what LeBron James did as far as like that event. I think that was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. So him going there was the last straw that broke the camel's back. So that's just my perspective on friendship and the quote. We didn't have a quote of the day, so but like as I said, Uguti, on the first take that we did, I did say, Uguti, we didn't have the book of the day, we didn't have quote of the day, but because of Romeo, the friend of Baki, TikTok. For those of you who know Baki from TikTok, he has a friend by the name of James. He's the one who introduced me to Neil Strutter's The Game. So he mentioned a quote. He said, "Uncommunicated expectations lead to premeditated resentment." So I think for Drake to, or obviously looking and analyzing the behavioral patterns, you see, this person has never showed me love in so many occasions, but anything that comes out that's against me, she's the first person to support their thing. So how are you, my friend? But every time I'm in the path of victory, you always keep quiet or you're not showing support. So that's just how I feel. Because obviously, there's a point in like these bars when he speaks about lights at his place, like it was Christmas, but he's referring to the incident where there was a shooting at his gate with some, I think it's a fan, if I'm not mistaken, and people just blow it out of proportion and said it's Kendrick's friends trying to invade Drake's home because Kendrick posted, or the cover art of Kendrick's song "Not Like Us" is Drake's place, and that's why it got invaded by one of Kendrick's fans. So that's the rumor that's going out. But I'm like, guys, that's a stretch. But who cares? So yeah, this is just my 2 cents about the beef, and I felt like I need to address that simply because I'm going through a similar thing, and I think to understand both sides is very imperative for the growth of the relationship. That's just my 2 cents. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. I am your host with the most, Lesego M Daily Pod, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to go be daily like Cairo. Please do not forget to follow, like, and subscribe to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. Have a lovely evening. Cheers.